Hello, teachers. How are you? Good afternoon. I am Carla Armendáriz, all the way from Mexico. Hello, teachers. How are you? Good afternoon. And I'll be here with you today, this afternoon. I'm so excited. Where are you visiting us from? I see we have teachers from Lima. We have teachers from Recife. Okay. We have teachers from Rio. We're going to wait like 1 or 2 minutes so all of the teachers join us. I've seen that you have had a wonderful morning of presentations from different teachers. I hope you have all enjoyed them and learned new things from them. I had the opportunity to watch a couple of them for a couple of seconds. Okay, Brasilia, hello Brasilia, Peru, okay, Rio Claro. So we have lots of teachers. I hear we have teachers from Bolivia and Peru and Brazil, right? So hopefully we have teachers from other countries also. Panama, it's Paraná, I'm sorry. Hello teachers from Panama, from Sao Paulo also. Good afternoon, okay. Minas, Brazil, okay. From Lima, Peru. It's a wonderful city. I've been to Peru for a couple of times. I have not been to Brazil. I hope that soon I'll be visiting you when this pandemic is over and we can travel again. I hope to visit you all in Brazil. I am Carla Armendáriz. I am from Mexico. I am from the state of Chihuahua. And Chihuahua is in the northern part of Mexico. We border with the United States. It's the largest state of the country. It's very hot in the summer and it's very cold in the winter. We have a very extreme climate here in Chihuahua, but it's a beautiful state. And I'm so happy to be, we have teachers from New Zealand. Hello, Charles from New Zealand. Okay, welcome to our talk. Yes, I'm happy and proud to say that Miss Universe is from Chihuahua, is from my home city. She visited the state. We had her here last week. She came to Chihuahua to visit her home state, yes. So we have beautiful women here in Chihuahua, okay, yes, Miss Universe is a proud Chihuahuense, okay, from the north. Yes. Hello, Peru. Good afternoon. Okay, it's good afternoon, Brazil, right? It's 2 p.m. in Brazil. It's 11 morning here in Chihuahua. We're 3 hours behind. Okay, so is everyone ready to start? Are you eager to start this afternoon? I hope you had a great lunch. I hope lunch does not make you sleepy. Okay, I hope it gives you energy to start a wonderful afternoon. Okay, so ready? Should we start now? Yes? Okay, so today, this afternoon, okay, thank you for inviting me to Jornada SBS. It's a pleasure being here. And we're going to be talking about engagement versus participation, a difference that matters. We're going to be talking about these very important concepts, engagement and participation. We're going to see how they work together, and also we're going to see the difference between them, okay? So I always like to start my presentations or my classes with a fun activity to see if you are all awake. So what I want you to do is I want you to warm up those fingers because you're going to be answering a couple of questions. I am going to show you in the screen a question and you're going to answer it in the chat, okay? I'm going to be here trying to read your answers, okay? So are you ready for the first question? They're very unexpected questions, so pay attention. The first question is, which is your most used emoji? Which emoji do you use the most? Okay, I like the one with the sunglasses. I use a lot the one with the sunglasses, and I use the one with the little hearts. Which emojis do you use the most? The kiss, the one with the kiss, okay, the one like that also, okay, the one laughing, okay, with one with the little tears laughing, okay, you're sharing your best emojis. Oh, the little eyes, those, it's cute also, right? Thumbs up, okay. Okay, so I see that most of you use happy and loving emojis. I'm glad that you don't use angry emojis, okay? I also like the one that is like upside down. I think that's a new emoji, the one that has the little face upside down. I think it's really funny. I like that one. Okay, ready for the next question? Yes? If a movie was made of your life, okay, if someone chose to make a movie about your life, which actor or actress would play you? Which actor or actress would be playing your character in the movie of your life? Who would you like to play? What actor would you like to play you? Have you ever thought about it? Emma Stone, okay. Sandra Bullock, Angelina Jolie, Julia Roberts. I love Charlize Theron, okay. I think she's a great actress and she can turn into many characters, and I love Charlize Theron, okay. Ben Affleck, okay. Keanu Reeves, Emma Watson, Sandra Bullock, okay. Julia Roberts, okay. Jennifer Aniston, okay. I don't know, you don't know, okay. Maybe you had never thought about that, right? It's a question that we never thought about, that question, right? Homer Simpson. Well, so you would rather have a cartoon made of you rather than a movie? Okay. So Meryl Streep, she's a very good actress also. So are you ready for the next question? The next question is, if you were a superhero, what would your name be? If you were a superhero, what would your name be? Okay? What would your name be? Think about a creative name. We teachers are superheroes, okay? We're already superheroes. So now think about a name. What name would you be? Okay? The Reader, okay? Busy Girl, Super D, okay? Super Anna, Mr. Selga, Super Rafa, okay? Super Teacher, the Procrastinator, okay? The Clairvoyant, that's another one. Mr. Helper, okay? Good. The Bookworm, okay? That sounds interesting. The Bookworm, okay? Super Do It All, Super Monica. Okay, so maybe about thinking about your superhero, right? You can think more or less of your outfit. What would your outfit be, right? Or what would your superpower be, right? I'm guessing that if you're the super reader, your superpower would be reading a lot or knowing about a lot of books, right? Little Joy, okay? Carl, Power, Wonder Teacher, the Bubble Girl, okay? I am imagining all of you in your roles as superheroes. Okay. The next one. I love all of your answers. They're very creative. I always enjoy reading your answers. The next question is, pay attention to this question, okay? Write one word to describe how you think any student in your class feels in your class. Think about the students in your class and think about how a particular student might feel in your class. Write that word. How does a student feel in your class? If I Carla, were a student in your class, how would I feel? Happy, surprised, okay, interested, relaxed, involved, okay. Magda says great. Caroline says engaged, okay, happy, engaged, thoughtful, comfortable, okay. I love all of your adjectives, okay. Laughing, confident. I love that you don't have bored students. I love that you don't have angry students. Or do you? Okay, taking a break from everything else. Okay, laughing, motivated. Okay. So I'm very happy. I am very glad to read all of your answers. Curious, bored. Okay, we can have bored students also, right? Not everything is perfect. Not everything is happiness. Not everything is joy, right? We have all types of students. And with this little activity, I wanted to energize you up a little bit. And also, this is going to help me introduce what we're going to be talking today. We're going to be talking about participation and student engagement and what we as teachers can do to keep students engaged. Are you ready? Let me tell you a harsh truth, okay? Will teachers hope that all of our students are happy and are paying attention in class? But let me tell you something. Do you know what happens in the classroom while the teacher speaks? Okay, we're very engaged. We're very passionate about teaching our classes, right? Online or in the classroom. But what is going on with our students? Have you ever wondered? Okay, to show you what's going on with your students while you are teaching, let's pretend this picture is the 100% of your students, okay? This is your class. You can even name them if you want, okay? This picture is your class. Well, let me tell you that 25% of your students in your classroom are actively disconnected. Sorry, teachers, but this is true, okay? And this means that 25% of the students are someplace else doing something else. They may be drawing. They may be maybe using their cell phone. They may be chatting. They may be doing different things, okay? But they are disconnected from your class and they are doing something else. That's 20% of your students. 25%. Now, the other 25% of your students are passively disconnected. They are also disconnected from your class, but they're passive. They're just sitting down. They're not necessarily doing other things, right? They're just like day sleeping, right? They're like sleeping with their eyes open, okay? But they're totally disconnected from your class. They might be even daydreaming, right? Or making plans about what they're going to be doing in their summer vacations, but they're not paying attention. So, teachers, here you have 50% of your students disconnected from your class. Have you ever thought about this? Now we have 20% of your students that are trying to follow the lesson, but are only getting it partially. This is 20% of your students trying to get the lesson, trying to pay attention, but they don't fully get it, okay? They are like the lower academic students, right? They're the ones that have a lower achievement. They're trying, okay? They're trying to follow, but maybe because of language barrier, maybe because of level barrier, okay? They're struggling. So 20% of your students are struggling. 50% of your students in your class pay attention. Okay, they're there paying attention, taking notes, listening to everything that you say, and they're there with you. 10% of your students in class participate actively. They're asking questions. They want to come to the front and participate, right? They're interacting with other students. They're interacting with the teacher. Only 10%. And the last 5% of your students already know the lesson, okay? They are the students with a higher academic level, okay? They're the ones who already know the things beforehand, okay? They have a higher cognitive level, so only 5%. So I think these numbers are shocking and are numbers that we want to consider, okay? Because what we want is we would like to have all of our students being in the blue and green percentage, with the ones paying attention and with the ones participating actively, right? Because that 5% of students that already know the lesson are the ones who are going to finish faster, are the ones who are going to start talking about something else. Usually, they are the ones who are more they want to participate in other things. Okay, so what we want to do is we want to bring all these 70% of the other students into participating actively and paying attention. Okay, and not because students are paying attention, it means that they are learning, right? Because we might be paying attention, but we're not necessarily learning. Okay, so this is a shocking percentage of students, right? And this is to make us think about what we have to do as teachers and what strategies do we have to take in order to move our percentages, okay? Student engagement is the product of motivation and active learning. It is a product rather than a sum because it will not occur if either element is missing. This is very interesting, okay? Student engagement is seen as a product. It's a result of something. It's a result of student motivation and active learning. If the student is not motivated and is not learning actively, there is not going to be student engagement. And the same thing happens with us, right? The same thing if we are not motivated into doing something, and if we are not doing it actively, we are not engaged, right? And we do not like doing things that do not motivate us. So the same thing happens with our students. So to start with, we're going to start talking about the learning context. We're going to set the stage, okay, about the learning context in order to understand engagement and participation. We all know that learning is a process. It is not something that has a beginning and an end, right? Learning is a process. It means that it keeps going. It never ends. It's a process of growth, right? And it occurs in a social context and involves interaction. So the learning process occurs in a social context. And this is very interesting. And this is something that we saw that changed a lot with the pandemic, right? We went from a social context in the classroom to online classes. We went to interacting personally and physically with students and with classmates, to interacting with a computer and to interacting with students in an online environment, right? So this became hard for us teachers and hard for the students to understand how we were going to interact, how we were going to socialize through a computer, right? And this learning process takes place between students and teachers, or students and students. That's why it is social. And having these two participants, teachers and students, we have the role of the teacher, which is to guide, motivate, facilitate, right? And model, to be a provider. And the role of the student, which the student has a bigger role, right, is to absorb, is to seek, it's to apply information, is to create new things, okay? So we teachers are the providers of the tools, of the opportunities. And the students are the ones who receive these tools, and they are the ones working with the tools. They are the ones who are creating. They're the ones who are doing, okay? That's the importance of the learning process. Now let's talk about participation, okay? Now that we have in mind that learning is a social, that learning is a process that takes place in a social context, okay? We're going to start talking about participation. Participation is also a process. Participation is a process during which individuals or groups of individuals have the opportunity to become actively involved in a project or program, okay? I highlighted this part because it's very important. It's the opportunity to become actively involved. When we talk about opportunities, okay, we have to think about the teacher providing the opportunity. The teacher is responsible for opening the space, so it creates the opportunity for students to become actively involved. How can we ask students, or how can we educate, right, active students if we don't provide the right opportunity, right? So they have to see the opportunity so they can become actively involved. And when they are actively involved, participation is going to take place, right? Have you noticed that when you're in class, and if we as teachers do not provide the opportunity for students to participate actively, they won't, right? We usually tend to say, students, do you have any questions? And which is the usual answer? No, teacher, we don't have any questions. Even if they have like 1,000 questions, they're not going to ask, right? So we have to find different strategies to open up these opportunities, okay, to open up these spaces so students really become actively involved. So this is participation. And before opening these spaces, there is something that we as teachers have to know, okay? We have to get to know our students. This is something that I always tell teachers, and I personally love doing, okay? You have to know your students. If you do not know your students, how do you know what their needs are, right? So we're talking about participation, and we need to know that there are different types of students. There are different types of participation, okay? I'm pretty sure everyone has one or two of this kind, okay? We all have these types of students. The first type of student, the first type of participation is the full integration. Those are the students that we always see raising their hands, right? Engaging actively, knowing what they want to say. They are not afraid of making mistakes. They are always, me teacher, me. They're always participating. They are very spontaneous. They don't wait for their teacher to ask them a question. They're always there, and they are always willing to participate. Okay, we all have these types of students, right? And we have to be aware that not only those types of students are the ones who require our attention, right? We have to give our attention to every student. The next type of student we have is participation in the circumstances. The students who participate in the circumstances are students who are more influenced by sociocultural, cognitive, affective, and linguistic factors. What does this mean? They are going to participate, but they carefully think about when they're going to participate. They're going to think about if their answer is correct, okay? They're going to take more time into thinking about participating when they think they feel comfortable, okay? They think a little more about participating, but they participate, okay? They think about how they feel. They think about if the answer is correct. They think about if it's the appropriate time to participate. They won't interrupt the teacher, okay? So I'm pretty sure we also have these types of students in our classroom, right? We have the me teacher, and then we have the ones who think it the most. The other type of participation we have in our classroom is the marginal interaction. This means that these students act more as listeners, okay, and less as speakers. They're listening and they're paying attention to everything that the teacher or the other students say, okay, and they're taking notes, but they're rather not speak as much. They will participate if the teacher asks them to participate, but they tend to better only listen and take notes, okay? They're not as involved in speaking. And last but not least, we have the silent observators, okay? This type of participation refers to students who usually are more shy to participate. These students usually have a lower self-esteem. They have maybe a lower language level, okay? They're afraid of being bullied. They're afraid of being made fun of, okay, if they participate. And they tend to avoid participation. They're usually the ones that are hiding behind the book, right? Or they're very silent, or they're usually the ones sitting in the back of the classroom, right? In the corner in the back where the teacher cannot see them, right? And they accept whatever topic is okay, right? They do not go into discussion because they rather not participate. So whatever is being said, they accept, okay? So these four types of participation are types of students we all have in the classroom. And it's very important to know this. I'm pretty sure we already knew about this, right? We already knew about this, but we didn't give it like a name, right? We didn't know they were called silent observators, or we didn't know they were called fully integrated students. Well, now we have given them names and characteristics. And this is going to make it easier for us teachers, okay, in our classes when we identify these types of students to know how to interact with them, okay? We cannot force a silent observator to fully participate in an oral activity or an oral participation, because we have to see if their reason for not participating is self-esteem, right? First, we have to work on making them feel comfortable and providing the opportunities for them to participate. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some hacks on how to do this, okay? So here we're talking about the concepts in general, we're talking about the characteristics, but we will be getting to how to do these things. Now we're going to talk, now that we talked about participation and we identified the different types of participants in our class. Now we have to talk about engagement, because we have to make the difference between these two concepts in order to understand how they work together, okay? Engagement refers to the degree of attention, curiosity, interest, and optimism and passion that students show when they are learning or being taught. Okay, I love this meaning. Okay, it's the degree of attention, curiosity, interest, optimism, and passion. It's what drives students, right? It's when we love doing something like a sport, right? Or I don't know, or painting, or listening to music, right? Or going to the movies. Those are our passions. That's what we like. And when we do those things, we are fully engaged, or we're happy we're doing it, and it develops more interest, right? And that is what engagement is, okay? When we see students participate actively, right, or get actively involved in our classes with attention, with curiosity, with asking questions about the topic, right, or asking questions about related things to that topic, right, that means students are engaged, okay? When they love what they are learning, and that will drive them to learn more. Okay? If you have any questions or any comments, please type them from your in your chat box, and we'll be addressing your questions. Okay? So let's talk about the importance of student engagement. Why is student engagement? We were talking in the previous slide that engagement is the passion, the interest, right? What motivates you to keep going. But what elements, what aspects trigger that engagement? Okay, what aspects trigger that engagement? We have three very important aspects that we should consider every time we go into a class, or every time before we go to our classes, every time we plan our lessons, every time we think about the strategies, okay, we're going to use with our students. The first aspect is the affective aspect of our students, okay? We as teachers, remember that we as teachers are responsible, okay, for providing the proper learning environment, for opening up the space so students participate actively. So what do we have to do? Very importantly, we have to appeal to the affective aspect of the students, okay? I feel safe. That's what students should say, or how they should think, right? I feel at home. I feel included. I belong. When students feel safe, when students feel at home, right? When they feel comfortable, when they feel included, when they feel they belong, what do you think is going to happen? Okay, they're going to be happy. They're going to be motivated. They will want to learn. Okay, students that feel afraid, students that feel shy, students that know that they're going to be bullied if they have a wrong answer, right? Or students that know that they're going to be criticized when participating. They shut down their affective filter, right? And that's a part of them that they're going to lose. And therefore, they're not going to be as motivated or engaged in learning. So what we have to do is promote a safe environment for every student in our class, right? We want to make sure every student feels safe. We want to make sure that every student is included and belonging, okay? You are all part of my class, right? You are all included in my class. The next aspect, okay, the next element is the behavioral element, okay? How students behave. We have already talked about how students feel. Now we're going to talk about how they behave, okay? Students have to want to be active, do what it takes, participate, and be responsible for their own learning, okay? If you notice the connection between the affective and behavioral factor, one thing leads to another, right? If I feel safe and I feel included and if I belong, then I will want to be active. I will want to learn. I will want to be responsible for my own learning. You see, that will lead to independent learning. And of course, the third aspect, right, has to do with knowledge, okay? I want to know. I want to explore. I am interested. I see a purpose in this, okay? Finding a purpose. Oh, now I see. I understand, right? How many times we, even as teachers, right, when we were students, or we are students at some point also, right? And I'm going to give you an example. Math. For me, I struggled with math terribly, right? And so I said, why do I want to learn algebra, right? I'm not interested in algebra because I'm going to be an English teacher. I don't need algebra in my life, right? I'm not interested. I don't care to participate. You see? So we disengage. But if we find the true meaning, or if we connect with what we are learning, okay, we find a reason. We find it meaningful. We connect what we're learning in the classroom to our real life. And then when we make that connection, when students make that connection, they have a meaningful experience. And it's when, that spark in their mind comes and it says, oh, now I understand. I see what you mean, right? And that's what we want to spark in our students. That's how students get engaged. So I really like this idea of these three aspects interacting together, because if you see, it's what integrates, right, students as a whole, right? As the affective, I feel; the behavioral, right, how I behave, the how I conduct in class; and the cognitive, how I think, right? So these three important aspects is what makes us as a person, is what make us as a person. And if these three aspects are working in balance, okay, and are working together, we're going to have engaged students in class. Now that we know what participation is and what engagement is, we have to see how they work together, and we have to understand also that engagement or participation is a difference that really matters. A common thing we do as teachers sometimes is we confuse participation with engagement. When we see that a student is participating, or when we ask a student a question and the student answers back, we think, or we believe, that they are engaged. We are very happy and we say, oh, all of my students were engaged in my class. Were they really? we can have disengaged participation. This means we can have students participating, but that are disengaged from what they are learning. And these students, okay, are the students who only have a student-teacher interaction. This means that they're not interacting with other students, okay? They're only interacting when the teacher asks them to interact, okay? These students don't need thinking time, okay? They don't need time to reflect upon their learning. And they always answer in single words or phrases. Yes, no, okay, true, false. They don't give deeper answers, okay? They don't reflect on the answers. They don't reflect upon their thinking. So they are participating, but they are not engaged, okay? And what we want is to have engaged students. On the other side, we can identify true engagement, okay, when conversations get off topic. This is very common. Have you noticed this? When you are teaching a subject, right, you're talking about something, and then suddenly a student, right, tells you, yes, teacher, I remember when my grandmother, right, told me this and that. Or, yes, I remember when I went on vacations last year with my... Conversation gets off topic, but that's something good, because you know the student is making a connection to what you are teaching, okay, to something that happened to that person, to that student, right? He's making the connection. Therefore, he or she is making sense of what they are learning, right? And those connections are good. And also, this leads to meaningful and lifelong learning. They will never forget that connection, right? And also, students that are very engaged are very spontaneous, and they have a lot of student-student interaction, right? They turn to the student next to them to try to talk more about the topic, right? It happens to us also, right? If we are very engaged into a talk, right, or into something, we want to turn to our friend next to us to talk about what's going on the presentation, right? We are engaged. Makes lots of I statements. Teacher, I remember when. Teacher, I think. Teacher, I read. Teacher, they participated a lot. And they answer in complete sentence. They not only answer with the yes, no, true, false, right? They answer with complete sentences. They usually say, I believe, I think, right? And they give fuller answers. So when we see students who are truly engaged, this is what they do. Okay, so let's not confuse participating, okay, not because you say, okay, Jose, right? What do you think about the topic? I think it's very interesting, teacher. That's not a full, right? That's not an engaged answer. It's just participating. But when they provide their point of view, when they provide deeper answers, they are engaged. So that's where we want to take our students, to full engagement. So don't think because your students are participating that they are engaged, okay? Alexander says, I have never thought about it. Yes, there are things that we might be, might been teachers for 20, 30, 15 years, right? And these are practices, these are things we do in our, daily routine as teachers. So when we sit down and we take time to read about it, to, put names, to see the characteristics, then it's when it clicks, right? And when say, oh, that's right. I kind of knew it, but I've never thought about it, right? So this is why I love sharing with you teachers all of this, because we all learn something new, right? Teacher says students participate when they feel ready to do it. That's why it's crucial to consider content and real level. Exactly, right? That has to do with the affective filter and cognitive filter, right? When I have reached the level and I think I'm capable of participating, I will do it, right? Or maybe today's content was not very appealing, or I was not very familiar with today's content, but maybe with tomorrow's content, I will know something about it and I will be able to participate, right? Just a quick parenthesis right here. That's why it's very important, okay, to activate prior knowledge every day in your everyday class, right? Because we all know something about everything, as little or as much as it is, right? So when we start off with a topic, when we start talking about our class, the first thing we have to do is brainstorm and also activate prior knowledge. If we're going to talk about Italy, right? Give quick questions, quick pictures, or something to activate their knowledge and to make students think, oh, okay, I do know something, right? Maybe I do not know Italy's history, but I know that in Italy they eat pasta a lot, okay? Well, that's something. That's not nothing, right? That's something. So that's why activating prior knowledge is very important. Okay, I have a very ugly picture right here to show you. This is something that came to change the world we teach. This is something that came to change the way we learn, okay, the way students learn. And this is something that we never expected, but I think that it brought good things to us because it made us realize how far behind we were talking about teaching and learning, right? COVID came to wake up or to wake us teachers, right? And tell us, hey, you have to go into technology. You have to go and try new things in teaching. But it also made, okay, this is a tweet, right, that I read and I wanted to share with you. It says, schools officials report that many students have become more passive, have a lesser sense of social belonging, and feel disengaged from their learning after several long months of remote learning, okay? Most students are tired, as we are as teachers, right? And it was hard to engage them through a computer, right? Through online teaching and learning. And now what's going to happen? How is it that going to change if we go towards a blended learning process, right? So I promised that I was going to give you some hacks to how to encourage participation and engagement in class. So I'm going to share with you 3 different strategies that you can use with any level of students, from kindergarten all the way to adult or university level students. It's depending on how you adapt them, but you can easily use them in your classes, and they're fun and they're very engagement, and students feel all included. Are you ready for them? The first one, response cards. Maybe you have already used them. I love response cards, and because they're very interactive, and you can use them from kindergarten to university level. And this way, okay, you can have students who do not like oral participation and who are very shy. You can have them participating. And what you do is you can have students do their own response cards, or you can make them in a format and send them to your students so they can print them out. And you can ask questions if you're teaching, this can be used for online classes or for classes at school. It can be used in both ways, and it's very interactive. And if you're teaching online still, right, you can ask a question and then you can have students show their response card onto the response, the answer they think it's about. And this is very fun, right? And they're moving, and you can see who answered correctly. You can see who's struggling, right? And this helps increase participation level of all students. All students are participating, even the shy students. It increases on-task behavior. It assists student monitoring. You can see whose answer got it right, or even students can see what answer their classmates have. It's very interactive, it's motivating, and it's fun, okay? I don't know if you have used, Carolyn says, I love response cards. Yes, right? And if you're working with kindergarten students, maybe, if they don't know how to read yet, you can use like flashcards, right? You can use pictures instead of responses. And it's very fun, right? And I truly suggest it to increase participation and engage students. And students are going to like it, okay? It's a different way of responding. And it can be done online or it can be done in the classroom, okay? So you can use it in both ways. The next activity, okay, it's called 3, 2, 1. This might not go much into preschoolers, okay, but maybe you can find a way to adapt it and use it for preschoolers also. And this is usually done at the end of the lesson. You can do it at the end of the week, at the end of the month, right? Each student has a chart. You can draw them in their notebook. And the first thing they have to do is write 3 facts that they learned in class, right? That they learned in the week, that they learned in the lesson, that they learned in the month, right? 3 facts. Then they have to write 2 questions that they still have about that topic, or 2 questions that they think that was of things that were not covered in class. 2 questions they have about the topic. And in the last column, they have to write 1 opinion about the lesson, about the topic, right? It can be how they felt about it, if they liked it, right? What's their opinion? What's their point of view about it? So if you have higher level students or older students, right? Like teenagers or adults, well, of course, their answers are going to be more elaborate, right? If you have younger kids, they can answer with 1 or 2 or 3 words, right? Depending on the level. This is great. This activity is great because it increases participation of all students. It provides time for reflection. They reflect upon what they have learned, right? Like a self-assessment. It helps you assisting student monitoring. Okay, you can see who has questions about what, right? You can identify the students that are struggling, or you can identify the students that really got it. And of course, it promotes independent learning because you're making students self-reflect upon that. And maybe they will want to learn more about the topic on their own. So I love it. And it's great. I mean, you can do it, as I told you, at the end of the month or before an exam, right? Or when you're closing a topic in your class. And it's great because it provides time for reflection. And you don't have to spend an hour doing this. You can give them just 5 minutes before going home, or 5 minutes as homework, right? To answer these really quickly. They don't have to write like a 500-word essay. It's just something real quick and something easy for them to identify facts, their doubts, right? Their questions, and their opinion about the topic. The third activity, let me see how we're doing with time, okay? I'm sorry, we're almost getting to the end of our talk. The next activity is called fishbowl, okay? Everyone knows what a fishbowl is, right? Those fish bowls that we have with the little fish, and we're staring at the fish, seeing what the fish are doing, okay? Yes, So this would work out. It works great with intermediate and high level students, but I have done it with younger kids and lower level students. I mean, it's all depends on how you adapt the level, okay? But it works perfectly well. You're going to divide your class into two teams, Team A and Team B, right? And if you're teaching via Zoom, it's great because you can do the breakout teams, right? Team A is going to work with microphones on, Team B with microphones off, okay? What they're going to be is Team A, okay, is the one that's going to be fully participating. Team B is going to be the observant team. What you're going to do is you're going to show them a picture, right, or a problem or a topic, and what Team A has to do is discuss the picture or the problem or the topic, okay? For example, you can show them a picture and have Team A discuss what they're looking at on the picture. Or you can give them a problem and discuss it with their microphones on, then they have to discuss, okay? Or any topic, right? And depending on the level of the students. And the only thing that Team B has to do is observe. They have to observe and they have to take notes on everything Team A is saying or commenting, okay? They're the observants. After, you can give them, 5 minutes, right? Not a long time because then it gets kind of boring. Just 5 minutes. 5 minutes to discuss the picture. 5 minutes to discuss the problem, right? 5 minutes to discuss the topic. After 5 minutes, you have Team B open their microphones and discuss, right? And talk about all the observations they made and ask questions to Team A, right? I noticed that you did not mention this, or I noticed, so this is great, right? And then maybe you can exchange the roles, okay? So this is great because this is very interactive, right? Very interactive. It's fun. You can come up with fun pictures, with fun topics, with fun ideas, and they're going to love it, okay? They're going to love it. And, okay, teachers, my time is almost over. I just want you to give you some final recommendations, right? Give students a sense of ownership and control. It's very important for them to own their own learning. Help students nurture intrinsic motivation and always plan for diversity, okay? So, teachers, it was a wonderful hour I spent here with you. I hope that sharing this information and sharing these strategies with you, you can use them in your classroom, and then further on we can share about how successful they were, adapt them, change them, okay? Make them your own. So thank you very much for being here today. And remember that the goal of the teacher is to provide the proper opportunity, the proper spaces for students to engage and interact. So I send you a big hug to all of your teachers. You're doing a great job, okay? And I'm pretty sure we're going to still, we will be still working on doing a great job because new changes are coming again, okay? So thank you for joining me. I'm sharing that my email with you. Remember, what we learn with pleasure, we never forget, okay? This is something very special to me. What we learn with pleasure, we never forget. So teachers, thank you for being here. I'm sorry, time's up, but I hope you take something back to your schools with you. So thank you very much. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful Jornada SBS. And I send you all my best wishes from Mexico. So teachers, goodbye. And there's my email and our webpage in case you want to contact us. Thank you very much and have a great week.
Muito obrigado, Carla. Bye, bye. Muito bem, Carla.